everybody, and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for functional home fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around your house. And it is class 3 of April Powers. Oh man, and I'm really excited. I'm particularly excited for this Friday program that I've whipped up, because I think it's going to be a really fun one for us to dig into. But hi everyone, we've made it to the end of the week. That's always a good thing. There's sun and leaves growing and people being douchebags on the internet, so what else is new? But for all that, it's also been a good day, so that's really nice, and I hope that you've had a good day, a good week. I'm fascinated by this one sun reflection coming in this window. I'm not entirely sure which direction this window faces. I didn't think that any sun would come in at this time of day, but I guess I was wrong. Ooh. But yeah, it's been a weird week. It's been a little bit of a hard week mentally, but we made it through. I am now a week out from my first vaccine shot, which is exciting. So, that immunity's building up. Yeah, that's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear. Still got a few weeks before my next appointment, but I'm feeling good. I'm glad that that process has started, which is very nice. Oh, and I'm yawning as usual. Because why wouldn't I be when I turn on the camera and it's really these lights. These lights are just super bright. They make me want to yawn. I don't know why. Pavlov's light. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well and keeping hydrated and all of that stuff. Yeah, no, that's what I was referring to in terms of people being assholes on the internet. Anyone who has taken class with me for long enough knows that I'm a Loading Ready Run fan, huge fan. I don't follow their Magic stuff as closely because I don't play Magic particularly frequently, but I do still follow some of it, and they're also just in general delightful humans and delightful content creators, and people have been being dicks on their PPR stream today, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And people just doubling down on being assholes. I can forgive, everybody has bad days, and we have bad days on the internet, and the internet is rife with opportunities for us to sort of speak and not think before we do so. But when literally Wizards of the Coast has to step in on Twitter and be like, nah, bro, we agreed to this. This was the fucking structure that we were like, yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. And you're still out there being assholes. Something is wrong, And it makes me sad, because there's such good people and there's such wonderful Twitch streamers and wonderful content creators and just great advocates and allies for, just justice and equity, and a lot of people on there who are really wonderfully open and honest about mental health struggles, which is really important to me as well, and just seeing people just dogpiling the internet bullying. All of my love goes out to the moderators of Loading Ready Run today, because mods are the heroes of the internet, basically. Mods are to the internet and to streams like Twitch streams what editors were to newspapers, or are to newspapers. It's not quite a one-to-one comparison, but mods are a critical component of the ecosystem, and I respect them so much, and I hate that they've had to deal with so much crap today. And I hate that the streamers have had to deal with so much crap today, because you know what? It sucks. It sucks. And I am a super small content creator over here. I do not need to deal with nearly the level of vitriol and bullshit that they do, and it just really frustrates me. No, I know what PPR stands for. Although you're probably telling the rest of the stream, so yeah, that's fine. Anyone who doesn't know what PPR stands for, it's in chat. So, yeah, I'm grumpy about that. I don't like it when people bully people on the internet. So we're going to take that frustration and we're going to channel it into workouts. Channel it into exercise. My friends, this is day 3 of April Powers, and I am really excited. It's been a weird and wobbly start to the programming. You know, Tuesday's class, I wasn't able to do most of it, either because of my tension headache or residual vaccination impacts, or a combination thereof. And then Wednesday just was a killer class. So awesome. So freaking awesome. And I'm really excited about today's as well. So yeah, so just as my pre-class spiel stuff, April Powers is a month of programming. So basically, I'm introducing each class's programs this week, and we will be doing those same programs each week for the rest of the month. And each week we will be ramping up the intensity. So this is our opportunity to really more deliberately challenge ourselves and ramp up that degree of challenge over the next few weeks. So yeah, look, sometimes I can't stop it. I'm sorry. So hopefully you can do all 4 classes this month, because that will obviously be ideal in terms of allowing you to move through the ramp up. And remember that VODs are always available on the channel, and I upload them to YouTube on Sundays. So if you're not able to make the class live, then you can always go back and watch the streams, but do try to go through all 4 of the classes, because that will help you more deliberately ramp up. So super exciting. This is week 1, so we're being introduced to the programming. We're getting it sort of in our heads, set up nicely, and yeah, it's going to be fun. I've got 2 advisories that I usually give for this class specifically, one specific to the way that we do our weight training in this class, and one more generalized. So functional home fitness is a class where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. That means laundry detergent bottles. That means backpacks filled with stuff. That means books, stock pots I've used, anything like that. And because we are doing weight training without using gym-specific equipment that is nicely ergonomically designed and has the amount of weight written on the side, we can't load as deliberately as we would be able to in the gym. So if this is your first class, I want you to err on the side of caution, okay? I want you to make sure that you're starting lighter. Go through an entire set, see how it feels. That you get to the end of the set and you go, all right, yeah, I could add some more weight onto that. Maybe you get to the end of the set and go, I think that was too much. Or maybe it was just right. But start lighter and you can ramp it up from there, okay? Just be careful and be deliberate. And the more you do class, you will get more of a sense of the weights of the objects that you have available to you, and you'll be able to be a little more deliberate going forward. But just remember, we have to be a little more cautious because we don't have dumbbells with 15 pounds written nicely on the side. The other thing that I usually talk about before class is really specific to free weight training, particularly for arms, okay? We are not symmetrical creatures. We have stronger sides and weaker sides, And it can be a tendency when we're doing free weight exercises. So when I have a weight in each hand and it's supposed to be the same amount of weight and I'm supposed to maneuver it through space, we can have a tendency to go, okay, well, I want to use the amount of weight that my stronger side can handle, and that's going to help strengthen up my weaker side. No, don't do that. Always load based on the capacity of your weaker side, okay? Because overloading, it is not going to strengthen it more quickly, but it is going to put you at more of a risk for injuring yourself, or having to do really unhealthy compensations just to be able to move the weight through space. So please always load with the capacity of your weaker side in mind, not your stronger side, okay? All right. Let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends. Let's do our... You're ridiculous. All right, we've got our water in whatever vessel you are using. Make sure you have plenty of water. This isn't as cardio heavy of a class, so we don't sweat quite as much, but we still need to hydrate. You got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You got your mat or a mat-sized space on the floor. You've got whatever equipment you're using. Today, I should be able to do everything that I want to do just with the laundry detergent bottle. I may pull a textbook off of the shelves, but those will be the primary two things that I use. And if you use a fitness wearable, we can turn them on now. Not high intensity interval training today, just find a traditional strength training setting and that should be fine. All right. Well, we are gonna be doing some weightlifting, but before we get there, we start with our warm-up. All right. Let's get on over to our mats. So on your mat, on your back, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as you hear that horn go off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Hiya! There we go. Okay. So I found my favorite cameo in The Flash. Not cameo, a guest role. Because he's in at least a couple of episodes. And it's Danny Trejo, who I just find so delightful as a person and as a performer. And, you know, he is somebody who understands his typing, and can use it either to really just dig in and like play to type, or can use it as an opportunity to sort of poke fun at himself. And he does a great job of the latter in The Flash. And I definitely have enjoyed that. So, yes, I'm still making my way through. I had no idea that show has 8 seasons. It's been running for 8 seasons, which is just wild to me. Like, I had it in my head that it was like 5 seasons max. And apparently I was very, very wrong. So yeah, there's a lot of content to get through. Oh my God. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's entirely possible that the reason that I didn't know that there were 8 seasons is they may not all be on Netflix. I'm not sure though. I haven't actually paid close attention to the number of seasons on Netflix. I just sort of didn't think about looking at that, so we'll see. But yeah, 8 seasons. Oh my God. And it's such a different structure than most of the shows that I watch. You know, I feel like television has moved towards not necessarily the limited series, but at least the more limited season length. And, you know, most of the shows that I've watched in recent years have seasons of like 8 to 10 episodes. And The Flash is far more conventional. The Flash has 23 episodes every single season. And I'm just like, that is so much content. I have noticed, especially in the last few seasons that I've watched, that I'll get about midway through the season and go, okay, wow, so I must be almost to the final episode, and then be like, nope, I'm barely halfway through, which is just so ridiculous. Oh my god. That is just a lot of content to get through. And I'm fascinated because, of course, that was the standard structure when I was growing up. You know, it's not like I don't have experience with shows, with seasons that go on that long. Hell, I still watch, Star Trek Next Generation, and those seasons were 23, 24 episodes too. It's, it's not like I don't have experience with that, but for some reason, nowadays, it feels so much longer. And I mean, it's a more conventional show in a lot of ways. It is telling an overarching story each season, but there's plenty of room for episodes that feel a little bit more monster of the week. That's still a component of this show's DNA in a way that it isn't so much in a lot of other shows that I watch these days. And it's fascinating. I feel like it's almost as if it's bridging a gap between the way television shows were run and developed when I was younger versus how they are now. So yeah, it is still very fun, and I'm still enjoying it. But every once in a while I go, oh my god, there's just so much show left. And I don't know if I have the energy to make it through. So yeah, it is a good thing to warn people. It is a lot more of a commitment overall in terms of amount of view time. But yeah, it's still got a lot of delightful performances, and you can see that the people on the show have a lot of good chemistry with one another, which is super fun. So I'm still enjoying it, but I will be interested when I go back and check Netflix to see whether they actually have all of the available seasons or not. Because I'm realizing I don't know. Oh my goodness. Alright, here we are, moving our way through our leg sequence, trying to make sure that the knee is pulled back so it's pointing straight up towards the ceiling and not caving forward. So depending on the flexibility of your hip, this may be really easy to achieve, or you may have to do what I do on this side and have to engage some of the musculature at the back of your hip joint to pull that knee back, okay? And either way, we just really want to start paying attention to how we position the knee, because especially when we do various squat-related exercises, it's really important to know that our knee is going to be held safely and in a stable position. So yeah, always pay attention to that. But now we're in our nice beach pose, so we can just sit back and relax. Yeah, sit back and relax. Oh my goodness, what a week. There was it's just like, it feels like every week there's a new something. And yesterday there was a bomb threat That was apparently credible enough that an entire section of Boulder got shut down for several hours while they investigated, and clearly everything ended up being fine in the end, but he's just like, oh my God, we did not need another thing. We really didn't. I would appreciate it if all of the things would just stop and go away. Thank you very much. So it's been an interesting few weeks, my friends, and yeah, it can be really tiring when it feels like things just keep coming, keep happening. Things that take a lot of energy to process and to work through. And, you know, most of us are pretty low on that energy right now. We have made it through a hell of a year. We're not out of the woods yet. We're not even likely to be out of the woods for a while. And God, it's tiring. It's tiring to have to keep working through all this stuff. Ow, oh man. On a totally separate note, wow, do I feel my hamstrings today. Woo! Nice. That, you know, I enjoy that feeling, but also, ow. I had not noticed that degree of engagement until we started doing our big torso rotations here. How's everybody else's hamstrings feeling? We did do some pretty intensive hamstring stretching after class on Wednesday, so that may be part of it. Just, we stretched a lot, and you know, even though we were super warmed up, obviously, because that stretching was at the end of class, it's still possible for it to cause a little soreness. So, who knows? At least it's the good kind of soreness. And again, we can tell the difference. We can absolutely tell the difference between soreness, that means, ooh, had a really good workout a few days ago, and soreness, that means, ooh, something may be about to be injured. Yeah, the more opportunities that we have to differentiate between those two types of pain, the better. Because it just makes us better at reading the signals that our bodies are sending us. All right. There we go. Nice big lunges, really opening up the front of the hip flexor there. And settling into that stretch just for a sec. We're not staying for a super long time in that stretch, but I do want you to feel that sort of settling into it, you know. The same thing that we do with our side-to-side planks. Settle for a second, let the judges see it, and then you can step that back leg forward and go to the other side. All right. Oh yeah. Here we are. Make sure that your hands on your knees are helping to keep those knees safely over the feet. All right. And the only things moving should be your shoulders. All right. So we're not bouncing up and down out of the squat position. We're not letting the knees cave in towards this midline, which can be particularly likely as you bring one shoulder in. The knee on the same side is like, oh, well, I want to follow. Hopefully having your hands on your knees will help you to lever them outward so that you don't have to worry about that. But it's something to pay attention to make sure that it's not happening without your say-so. All right. This is going to be the most cardio that we have today. Again, you know, this is our weight training class, so we're not doing the same degree of punching up the cardiovascular intensity, but never hurts to get that into our warm-up sequence a little bit and just be like, all right, we're here, we're pumping blood through our veins, we're getting oxygen into our bodies, and we are getting ready for an awesome remaining 45 minutes of work as we get started with April Powers for Functional Home Fitness. Yeah, good times. All right, there we go. And again, remember, we do not have to be going super fast for our kick-throughs. Our kick-throughs have a lot of components that we want to make sure we are safely performing, okay? So I have definitely felt much better ever since I slowed down my performance of the kick-throughs to make sure that I was able to keep going rather than getting exhausted or worrying about my form, okay? So there is nothing wrong with taking them a little bit slowly. All right. Last but not least, we've got our burpees here. And remember, wave push-up. And remember too, that when you jump your feet forward and backwards, you are guiding the weight of your body using your shoulders. So make sure that they are stabilized. You can use core engagement to help guide the movement of the legs back into that plank and forward into the jump. There we are. Nice. Nicely done. Got hair. Oh, hello, my dear. Oh, I am very sorry. Today is a headache day. Let me tell you, I understand. I don't think you were on the stream on Tuesday, but I had a massive tension headache for most of the day and literally had to stop doing the exercises because I was just getting nauseated and a little bit lightheaded. So I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, and I'm also glad you're in chat because I miss you. Ooh, what a car today. Yeah, that's always exhausting. That is absolutely exhausting. Well, I hope that even though you're not taking class, you still have your giant thing of water so that you can hydrate in solidarity, and you'll get to see what today's April Powers program looks like. So if you want to do the VOD later, you absolutely can. Woo woo. I have seen the Danny Trejo, Patton Oswalt day 9 commercial. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's pretty delightful. Okay, so we know the structure of our Friday programs. It's going to be that structure. So we will have 2-minute intervals, and we will do all of our reps in a row at the beginning of the interval, and then take the remaining amount of time as rest. And then we'll hear knock, knock, knock when we've got 10 seconds left, and get ready and get into position so that you can start the next exercise. We are going to have 4 exercises, and we'll go through them 4 times each. This class is unusual in terms of the April Powers structure because for most of the other classes, the way that I ramp up is by increasing the work interval, but we're not doing the same approach to those intervals that we do in the other classes. So you're going to have 2 approaches that you can take towards ramping up for this program. You can either ramp up the number of reps that you are doing. So you will get a range each class, and I will increase the range every week. So you will either have that opportunity, or you can ramp up the amount of weight that you're using. So, keep the number of reps similar, but use a heavier weight each week. I'm going to leave that to you, again, because this is functional home fitness, and we can't really deliver, we don't necessarily have like, this is 15 pounds and this is 20 pounds. Ramping up the number of reps is probably going to be the way to go, but I want to give you the option, okay? So, our exercises are going to be, we're going to have, our first 2 exercises are going to be arm. So, you want something with a top handle, which is why my laundry detergent bottle is perfect for this. A backpack can also be great for this. If I was doing this with gym equipment, I'd be using a dumbbell or a kettlebell. And we're going to do bent over lunged rows. So one-sided rows. I'm going to take a very small lunge, barely worthy of the name. I'm going to put one hand on that same knee to help stabilize myself. My other arm is holding the weight, letting the weight go down towards the floor, not letting the weight pull the shoulder down, making sure that shoulder is engaged, and then just row up and down and up and down, and then side 2, same thing, okay? Remember, when you set up in that lunge, you don't want to have one leg directly behind the other. That is not a stable position. So this is where we imagine that we're on skis and we just move one leg backwards, and that way we have that stability, okay? So those are our first 2 exercises. Bend over row, side 1, then side 2. Exercise number 3 is going to be, I think I am going to use textbook for this. Are you a heavier book? You might actually be a heavier book. No. Just going through my book collection trying to figure out what's heavier. So we're going to do our oblique engagement. So I'm going to balance on my tailbone. I've lifted my feet off the floor. I'm not trying to hold a pike position like we do for TikToks. Just getting those feet off the floor so that my core has to engage to keep the legs up. Holding my weight, I'm going to go to the side. So really contract the obliques over here and generate that rotation, and then the other side. And we just go back and forth like that. And then our 4th exercise is going to be sumo squat. I'm sorry I don't have a better name for that. So again, if I was doing this in the gym, I would have you use 2 dumbbells, but we have to frequently modify things when we're working out at home. So I'm just going to use 1 heavier weight and hold it, let it fall in front of me. Take that wide squat down and up and down and up, okay? So those are our 4 exercises. Row, side 1 and 2, then our side to side obliques, and then our sumo squats. So I am going to legitimately start us off pretty nice and easy. And what I mean by that is I'm going to start the range lower than I usually would. So for today, that range is going to be 15 to 20 reps, okay? Since we're doing so few, that probably means that you can think about going for a heavier weight. But because this is our first week and we're getting the hang of the exercises and the structure, you do not need to feel obligated to do that. You never need to feel obligated to do that, but particularly today, okay? But yes, 15 to 20 reps, and it doesn't have to be the same for every single exercise, although when you're doing the rows, you do want to do the same number of reps on each side. Remember, for the core exercise, because you're going 1, 2, and it's side 1, side 2, you will need to do an even number of reps for that. So for that one, it's going to be 16 to 20, because you don't want to go 15, cool, don't need to worry about that other side. All right. Okay, my friends, we are ready. We've got our equipment, we're on our mats, we've got our water set up. We're gonna get that timer going. 15 to 20 reps. Okay, and then just take the rest of the time as rest. Alrighty, so here we go, starting into our program and seeing how it feels in this first week. One thing to keep in mind too is that you do not need to do the same number of reps for each set, okay? That was me actually counting the number of reps that I'm doing, which is why it was so hard for me to keep an eye on what I was saying. But if you do 20 reps in this set and next set you're like, man, I think I need to drop it down to 18, that's totally fine. Set being the next time that we go through all of the exercises, not when we get to the second arm. So if you did 20 reps here on this first arm, I want you to do 20 reps on the second arm, okay? To make sure that you are doing the same amount on each arm so that we can even out the effort as much as possible. Alrighty? Same reason that we use the same amount of weight for each hand rather than going, okay, well, I'll use a heavier weight for my stronger arm and a lighter weight for my weaker arm. We want everything to be even as much as possible, okay? But yeah, so we're kicking off. So this week, 20 is the top. And for many of us, that's probably going to feel a little bit short in terms of what we're used to doing. So if you can find a heavier weight, go for it, all right? Because that will give you an opportunity to start the ramping up early, okay? All right, so here we are on side 2. Make sure that your core is participating in this process, okay? We do not want to lose that stability, and our core is a huge part of making that happen. Alrighty? So I am engaging my core. I am keeping that hand nice and firmly on the knee to really stabilize the stance. And the only thing moving is that arm, all right? Shoulder joint and elbow joint, okay? So it's a multi-joint exercise. We're not just moving one joint for this. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't usually count out the number of reps that I do in this class. Usually I'm just going for about a minute of the timer because it's hard to count reps and do the exercise and talk at the same time. That's a lot of stuff to keep in my brain. And it definitely gets a little complicated. So I'm not usually doing that, but for April, I want to be present with you. I want to be doing the programming exactly as I'm asking you to do the programming so that we can really ramp up together. And also this gives me an opportunity to see how many reps I am able to do in what amount of time, which is not information that I've had available to me before since I haven't been counting reps. So I am looking forward to participating in this program this way. Oh, man. Did an extra set for good luck because I totally lost the count there at some point. But I am probably going to ramp up the amount of weight that I do for that particular exercise on our next set. So there you go. We can do micro ramping up just over the course of class, you know? Again, if you're getting through a set and you're like, that felt too easy, that felt too light, I know that I have the capacity to do more, don't be afraid to go for it, okay? Don't be afraid to go for it. We're gonna do it smartly, obviously, and there is a top limit to the number of reps. That is fixed today, okay? So I want you to, if you've hit the top limit and you're like, well, what else do I do? Well, the what else you do is get a heavier weight, okay? And these are just some of the ways that we can challenge ourselves and ramp up our own personal performance, you know? These are the kinds of things that if I was working with you as a personal trainer, I would talk to you about. Because this is, the ways in which we ramp up strength and hypertrophy and stuff like that is by increasing the amount of exercise time, decreasing the amount of rest time, increasing the amount of weight used, or increasing the number of sets performed or reps within each set, okay? So we're going to be as deliberate as we can with all of this data for this month and really try and pay attention to what we're able to do, how quickly we're able to achieve it, and what we think will be helpful in moving us forward as we get stronger and as we get more confident in what we're doing, right? All right, there we are. Yeah, let me tell you, I am noticing how hard it is for me to count and talk. And usually, unless we're doing pyramids, I don't have that problem. But it is definitely going to be something I have to pay attention to this month. And who knows, maybe I will come out the other side of April Powers with a whole new skill, a whole new ability to be able to talk and count and do the exercise all at the same time. which would be pretty cool, I must admit. But we will see. We will see. It's going to be a good month, I think. I hope. I'm still struggling with some of my innate optimism, but it's coming back. It's starting to come back. I can see April being a good month, and that would be really nice. That would be really, really nice. All right, we have finished with our first round, so time to get ready for round 2. And here we are, getting ready. Well, not getting ready. We've already started round 2. So here we are, performing round 2, and feeling good about it. All right. Remember that you can do nice exhales on the effort. All right. So you don't hear me do it as much because I'm trying to talk at the same time. So I can't use my breath as a tool as much as you're able to, because you're not also trying to talk the whole time. But nice big exhales on the effort. So for something like these rows, the effort is pulling that weight up, okay? Engaging our muscles so that the force generated by the muscle fibers is stronger than the force enacted on the weight by gravity, which is trying to pull it down towards the ground, and thus we can get the weight up into the air. But nice big breaths, big dramatic exhales are always incredibly helpful, my friends. And just because I'm not breathing dramatically as much as I kind of wish that I was up here, does not mean that I want you to forget about this very, very helpful skill, okay? Man, it's really funny. I am not used to having this much standing around and talking time in this class, because usually, again, I'm going off of the amount of time left in the timer and not off of a specific number of reps. So this is definitely a new thing for me, and I apologize if I sound a little choppy in terms of my words today, but you know, we are all going to make it through. We are all absolutely going to make it through, and honestly, I like this, because it means that I know that I am evening out both sides, which, you know, I talk about my right or my left arm is absolutely the weaker arm, and it can feel really frustrating. It can feel really frustrating that I don't necessarily feel like it is strengthening at the same rate as my right arm. And honestly, it's better for me to do the same number of reps on each side. Like counting them out is actually a really smart thing for me to do, because what can happen is I'm going for a specific amount of time, which is great, and I'm certainly getting plenty of reps in, but since my right arm is stronger, it is more likely to be able to get more reps into that same amount of time than my weaker arm is. And that's a relevant difference. That is a relevant difference. So yeah, this might end up being a good thing for me. We shall see. All right. Now for our core. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, a nice a heavier weight was definitely what I wanted for this exercise, because my abdominals are doing pretty well these days. And the textbook was definitely not heavy enough to present a challenge. So again, feel free to ramp up. Either ramp up the number of reps you're doing up to that cap, don't go beyond 20, or find a heavier object. I recommend not trying to scout out objects mid-workout though. Make sure that before class starts, you've had the time to go through your house and find any objects that you might want to use for this. Make sure you've checked them over to know that they are stable, they're not going to cause issues or fall apart while you're working out. We want to do as much as we can to make sure that we're not presented with any unexpected challenges in the middle of this. But yeah, I recommend gathering a bunch of stuff together, especially if you're early in class. As we go forward and as we get to know the objects that we have in the house, you probably don't need to gather as many things because you probably have a sense of what you like to use, what is ergonomic enough for you to be able to use, stuff like that. Like, I used to use a stock pod for these workouts, and I've stopped doing that because it was too unwieldy of an object. It did not it did not feel like I was able to concentrate on the exercise itself. It felt like I was forced to pay strict attention to the object and to figuring out where it was going in space. So you do want to pay attention to that stuff, okay? You don't want to be forcing yourself to use objects that are, not well shaped just because you're like, well, this is heavier though, and I want to ramp up. There are other ways to do it, okay? Bags are such a great way to do that. Bags are just an excellent way to be able to ramp up the amount of weight because you can put stuff in them. So stuff that is not necessarily well shaped for you to hold in your hands, put it into a bag, and boom, you can still weightlift with it. So yeah, most of the people taking class I think have been with me long enough that you probably already have a sense of your objects. But if you are new, definitely experiment a lot in your first few classes. But as you get to better know the objects that you're using, don't be afraid to go, all right, I think I don't want to use this particular one anymore. I think that I would be happier just using this smaller number of objects. And that's fine, because the fact of the matter is we don't have the same degree of design assistance with the objects that we are finding around the house. And what that means is our gym equipment is really nicely designed to allow us to understand exactly where the weight is situated in the object, I love my laundry detergent bottle, but the big problem with it, the thing that I've had to learn how to work with, is the fact that it has liquid inside it. And so as the bottle has gotten lighter, the amount of liquid, the liquid has more room to shift around inside the bottle, which means that it shifts the center of gravity around in the bottle. And that's something that I have to be able to account for when I use this object. And so, you know, thankfully, it's not so difficult for me to compensate for that in a safe way. But if you're trying to use an object and you're like, I feel like the compensations that I'm doing to use this are more dangerous to me, then don't use it. Put it down. Find something else. I guarantee you there are plenty of objects in your house that can be used for this, all right? And the name of the game is creativity. The name of the game is anything can be used as a weightlifting tool. So let's find out what makes the most sense, all right? Let's check in and see what feels like it's gonna work. And don't ever, you know, get down on yourself because an object feels like it's not, like it's silly. Like, don't ever talk yourself out of trying an object, okay? Try it out, see how it feels. Know that it may not work out and that's fine. But yeah, try things out. Creativity. Oh my goodness. All right. We're doing well, my friends. We're in round 3 already, which is wild. I love this class, but it always blasts by a lot sooner than I expect it to. And I am really, really excited to keep ramping up in this particular class. This is one of the classes that I feel like I have more room for improvement on, just in terms of how I manage my own improvements in ramping up and challenging myself. So I'm really excited to see how this class goes during this month. And you know, I can definitely foresee a lot of great improvements being made over the course of this month, and that is going to be really cool. Yeah. Make sure that your abdominals are the ones driving the rotation. I totally lost count there. I think that was over 20. I'll be editing and be like, oh my God, Blanche, you need to calm down. You got to like 30 reps or something. Well, no, I didn't get to 30 reps. I do know that. But just consider yourselves lucky that you are not trying to talk and count at the same time, because that's a struggle. If I wasn't teaching, I would try and set up like a metronome for myself or something like that so I could keep myself on a beat. But that's just a little bit more complexity than I feel like I have time to set up right now. And that's fine. That's fine, honestly. But yeah, I am looking forward to this class over the course of the month. I'm already feeling like I'm feeling the work, but I'm also aware that I'm definitely going to be able to ramp up, and that's really exciting. I've already ramped up a little bit just by switching away from textbook to laundry detergent for the abdominal exercise. So yeah, this is going to be really fun, and we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna have a wider range of potential reps each week, so that we can really get up potentially to a nice number of reps, while still making sure that we leave some of the timer for rest. All right, so that is a really important thing to pay attention to. We do not want to lose track of our rest intervals as we are doing class, okay? So as you ramp up, the amount of reps that you're doing, make sure that you are still leaving yourself enough time to rest before the next exercise starts. All right? You don't want to be doing sumo squats up until the knock, 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 and then being like, oh, well, crap. Now I need to start the next exercise, all right? This is specifically designed so that you have rest and it's built in. And the nice thing about it is that you do have control over how much of that interval is rest. And we talked about how decreasing the amount of rest time is one of the ways that we ramp up. But I still want you to have some rest time, okay? So make sure you're going for that. All right, my friends. I love our Chill Fridays. And it's really funny to call this a chill class because we're still working quite hard, but because it's not a cardio focused class the way that most of my classes are, it feels a little more relaxed. But here we are. We are about to start our fourth and final run through these exercises. I want that form to be just as good here in our fourth run as it was in our first, okay? So make sure that you are paying attention to your form, keeping the core engaged to help stabilize everything. Alrighty, making sure that your shoulder is engaged so that you are not letting the weight drag your arm around. And making sure that you're keeping the elbow in by the side as you lift up, rather than letting it fan out. So it's the same concept that we apply to our push-ups, right? Where we want to keep the elbows glued in by our sides and not let them fan out to the side. Same thing that we want for our upright rows, okay? Yeah! Woo, woo, woo! Oh man, I tell ya, I am very glad to be counting reps on this arm exercise. I think that this is going to be a game changer for figuring out the actual current capacity of my left arm versus my right. So we'll get so much data over the next 4 weeks, my friend. And then the fifth week is sort of an unofficial part of the programming where once we've ramped up for 4 weeks, we will then, in the fifth week, go back and redo the programs as they existed during this first week. So we're going to have 4 weeks to ramp up, to challenge ourselves, to strengthen ourselves, and then in the fifth week, we will go back to doing the same number of reps that we're doing today, or ramping down the amount of weight, although probably by then I would say what you should ramp down are the number of reps, okay? So that is going to be our fifth week, and it'll be really nice to be able to compare and contrast how 15 to 20 reps feels this week versus how it feels after we've done 3 more weeks of ramping up the intensity over the rest of April, okay? It's really cool to experience that. It was one of my, Rocktober was the last time that we did this, and it was just so much fun to go back at the end of the month, to go back to what we had done at the beginning, and to realize how much progress we had made, right? And you know, I talk a lot about how when we get to a place where we're like, I feel really comfortable with this level of performance, I just want to, my goal right now is just to maintain this for now. That's totally legit, all right? Never let late stage capitalism convince you that you are supposed to be continuously upping your game. That is not necessary for strength, health, and fitness. But it can also be really wonderful if you get to a point where you're like, I'm feeling a little bit like I'm having a plateau of sorts, then having the opportunity to have sort of structured ramping up like this is really helpful, because it gives you permission, it gives your brain permission to work on this ramp up that maybe you've struggled to give yourself that permission before. And that is absolutely the thing that happens, you know? Our brains are trying to protect us. Oh my goodness, Steve, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your subscription. Woo! But yeah, it's one of the things, our brains are really good at finding an equilibrium where they're like, okay, this is the amount of energy that I need to be able to get through this activity that is being asked of me. And then our brain is like, cool, I want to stick here. And, you know, clearly I'm getting stronger and I have more available energy, but I want to like squirrel that away, because if a saber-toothed tiger bursts into the room, I want to be able to run away from it. So sometimes we need that external voice to push us through that plateau. And that's what these programs are definitely doing for me, and hopefully for you as well. I did finally get the sub button, yeah! And in less than a year or two, which was kind of shocking. But yeah, we're having a good old time over here on affiliate channel, Twitch affiliate channel, Blanche Case Fitness. Woo woo! So, oh my God, we've only got one more set of exercise. Our last set of sumo squats. I will love you forever if you can help me come up with a better name for this exercise. But yes, so here we are, our last set, and we are going to get through it. I'm going to let the timer go for the full 2 minutes, because people take different amounts of time to finish things. So I want to make sure that everybody has the full 2 minutes to get through, and then we'll do a little bit of stretching. Not a ton, but a little bit of stretching. All right. Yeah. Okay. Feeling good. And this is nice for me. Just, again, data collection can be a really useful thing. It's not a tool that speaks to everybody. And frankly, it's not a requirement. As with most things, it's not a requirement. You know, we can improve our performance without knowing the ins and outs of specific metrics. Like, that is absolutely easy enough to do. But it can be useful, and if your brain tends that way, even if it sometimes tends that way and then sometimes prefers to just sort of go with the flow, I'm sort of that latter category. So I'm really looking forward to getting a little bit more data over the course of this month. And this is really exciting because I'm seeing how much time it takes me to do a specific number of reps and comparing it to how much time I was allowing myself to do reps previously. And so I have a better sense of how many reps I might be able to do in the future. And that's really exciting. And as we ramp up, I'll get to see whether I was right. Oh, my friends. Yes. Good job. All right, grab some water. Grab some water. We're gonna do some pretty chill stretches. Again, this isn't the class where I do a ton of stretching
because we don't warm up our muscles in the same way as we do in more of our cardio focused classes. So I don't want us putting too much strain on ourselves, but let's do some quick quad stretches. That standing quad stretch. Remember to have a hand on the wall to help you with the balance. Even if you can maintain the balance by yourself, I still recommend having a hand on the wall so that you're not splitting your focus between intensifying the quad stretch and maintaining the balance, okay? All right, and other side. Woo! Almost fell backwards there. Yeah. Oh, feels really nice to get that quad stretch in. Basically, I'm never not up for a good quad stretch. You know, our legs do so much work that we don't even necessarily notice, because are you walking around? Well, then you're using your legs. And it always is really nice. All right, let's do some quick calf stretches against the wall. It is always really nice to stretch out the big muscle groups in our legs. So getting those quad stretches in, getting those calf stretches in like we're doing right now is just really helpful. Honestly, no matter what exercises we've actually done in class. But those wide squats definitely have an impact on your quads, so stretching them out is never a bad idea. All right, let's let our arms just sort of swing forward and back, and then let's take one arm up, fold it across the body, grab just above the elbow, and pull it tight into your chest as close as you can. So you got that stretch in the shoulder and into the tricep. Yeah, nice little stretch. You should feel it. And release. Let the arms go back and forth a little bit. And other side. Ooh, yeah. That feels nice. Very nice. We did some good arm work today. So we definitely want to get those stretches in, especially along the tricep. Those rows are no joke. All right. Release the arms. One more stretch. So I want you to take your hands, clasp them behind your back, and then I want you to just lean over at the waist and let the arms come down towards the ground. And I'm not pulling at all. I'm just letting gravity apply additional pressure, and that's intensifying the stretch in my shoulders, okay? So make sure that you're breathing. And there we go. That can be an intense stretch depending on your shoulder strength and stability. So you don't need to do it for too long. Anything that allows gravity to sort of take control, you want to be cautious. You want to pay attention to. There we go. We found the wording. Because gravity doesn't care, you know. As if I'm applying additional force to deepen a stretch, then that is something that I am in control of, and my muscles can make micro adjustments that I'm not necessarily even consciously aware of to deepen or lessen the intensity of the stretch. When you're just letting gravity take control, gravity's like, well, I am a constant. I don't really give a shit. So it's just something to pay attention to whenever you're doing stretches that are using gravity as a way to deepen and intensify the stretch, okay? Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Very sweet. Very sweet of Loading Ready Run. You know what? Everybody should go show them some love, either on Twitch or on Twitter or YouTube or any of the various places in the internet space that they can be found. They had a rough day today, and they were just trying to have some fun with a new magic set. So, yeah, basically, bullying sucks. So don't do it. All right? Cool. Glad we had this talk.
And I'm glad we had this class, my friends. I do really love our chill end of the week stream. And we've got one more class for this week. The last entry in week 1 of April Powers, which will of course be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. I am so excited for that one. There will probably be pyramids, although I'm not positive. Last time we did pyramids in the weekend kickoff version of the programming, and we got from 12 minutes total down to 8 minutes. Ramping it down from there would definitely be a challenge for us. I'm game if you are. We'll see. I have a bit to think about it. But please do join. I hope that you do. I'm looking forward to it, and that will be the sum total of our April programming, which will be super exciting, and then we'll be back again next week and start ramping everything up. It's going to be so cool, and I hope that you come with me on this ride. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially making these streams, I have a coffee account, good for one-time donations at Blanche Case Fitness. Or, as you saw a couple of times today, you can subscribe to this channel. And thank you again to Merriman Lion and Blue Socks SWJ for subscribing. I really appreciate it. You guys have been so wonderful and supportive of the stream for the last year, and it really means a lot to me that you are now official subscribers. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel and growing this community, then please do tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a wonderful community. You're always welcome here, even if you just want to hang out and chat. Yeah, it's just been such an honor to teach you all, and I'm looking forward to the rest of April. So make sure to get your vaccination appointments scheduled if you are eligible in the state in which you live. Please do not stop wearing masks, washing your hands. We got to keep taking care of each other, and we will have to keep taking care of each other going forward. It's not something, unfortunately, that is going to just magically disappear. So keep that in mind. Be safe, my friends. Hydrate. Make sure to have a good dinner. Have a good shower. Try not to sneeze because there are bright lights. Yep. And I will see you all back here again tomorrow morning. Mwah. Have a great night.